Yo, what's up, guys? More Siege, playing against Aftermath EU and Doubt. So, two very difficult guilds. Once again, going in with a lot of hits early on. This thing is, I think, one of the most solid offenses out there. I do have a second Sonya. I really do want the second Pure Vanilla because I would just use this twice. This is such an insta-win. Nearly impossible to counter with anything. Like, it's even nearly impossible to outspeed this if you rune it properly. Such a strong offense. But we're gonna get in a scenario where they have very strong defense, arguably one of the strongest, if not the strongest defense in the game. And let's see if we can tackle it. How do we tackle it? But also, let me know what you think is the strongest defense in the game right now. Well, we're gonna go to the point where you will see what I think is the strongest defense in the game, and then you might agree or disagree on that, but let's just see what you think about the one that I think is the strongest out there. And I think it's a really nasty one. It's not this one, though. This one I feel like is kind of doable. You can make it as a Leo counter, but I feel like to a certain extent it's still pretty doable to just do a lot of damage on the Zeratul. Like, Zeratul is one of those units, it's not bad per se, but Zeratul is really one of those units you have to throw a lot of stats to if you want to make him fast, tanky enough, still do damage, still get the 100 crit rate, but if you're 100 crit rate, you're also super hard countered by Kinky, so you actually have to go lower on the crit rate, and then, like, it's one of those units, if they would ever give Zeratul the treatment that they give to Mieng, where Zeratul guaranteed crits, and then you can build Zeratul on crit damage slot 4, Zeratul is going to become very meta in a lot of content, that is for sure. But until that day is there, this team, by all means, is not bad. If you have a Zeratul, this is probably the best Zeratul defense you can rune up. But him having to have that much crit rate and all of the other stats, and his base stats aren't that crazy or anything, makes it pretty difficult to get him into a good rune quadrant where you could say, like, okay, I put good runes to him, he survives, he tanks, he does damage, he does everything. It's just a little bit too hard. This is also one of my offense. I actually noticed that Eon has a very high set on damage. Like, I was checking these runes and I'm like, wait, pretty much 5 out of 6 runes is a legendary, and they have high rolls in damage or speed stats on all of them. So this Eon is actually on the highest damage output that I have. And this one I was kind of like doubting, where should I throw my damage? Is this going to be enough damage? Like, the 36k without an attack buff is enough in this case. And in this case, the best one to kill is going to be that Kiklet. Moment I kill the Kiklet, I would say that the other unit on the left, sure, it can go for the S2, which does a lot of damage, but I have a slow. So because of that slow, I have attack rate, I have slow. It's not going to do as much. Plus, I can give threat state to the Jamire, which also does a decent amount of S1 damage. So I think that was the safest play out there. This, once again, very solid team as well. We've seen it lose a few times, but that's just me getting outsped of not making the homunculus on the absolute fastest set I have. The Eon on the other hand does have the potential to be still in pair and be in tune for the fastest homunculus I could build. But the homunculus is not that much of a fast unit. Some other teams, in this case, this was somewhat of a risk taken, like, are they swift on the units or not? In this case, it was not. I have seen Maximilian use to, or lose to a Kiki before if the Kiki starts proccing a lot. But if I land all of my skills, especially the pushback, I don't even need that stun, and I'm pretty much good to go with the Maximilian. Plus, as mentioned before, out damage. Then the next one was pretty interesting one as well. Mieng with Kiklet and a Faye. The only thing is with Faye, it's pretty impossible to get Faye to the point where Faye is surviving like triple 18, pretty much 19k. This is actually a pretty good screenshot. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this is the best pause I have. There's no additional damage on specific elements on this Lucian. In this Lucian, it's just an attack increasing effect on the left side artifact. But that does do a lot of damage for someone that doesn't farm neither Necro nor Abyss runes for that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it does do a lot of damage. I feel like that most of them are kind of cleave food each. I also tend to use my defense on offense with a slight bit of difference, but it's just that strong that you can see this. Well, the thing is, the moment you put attack buff and speed buff to a Mieng, yeah, there's no surviving that. There is absolutely no surviving that. Even if the unit would have been armor broken there and died, I think I would have still won that 2v2 because there's just too much power to these two units on the left. It could go wrong. Like, it's one of those offenses that definitely still could go wrong, but we're also in the guild still not full try-harding until January, so I still got about a week and a half left to use, like, dumb offenses and kind of get away with it. After that, I have to start try-harding, build up some more, like, proper counters. In this case, I'm still using, like, all of my presets. Hitting about 7 hits at the start of the siege, that kind of stuff, so for me, pretty chill so far. Then we have this thing, which is also a pretty interesting one. It does have the light ivory in there, but we also have my Windy. And my Windy, actually, I started noticing the damage on the Windy. My Windy is pure add damage. It has about like plus 33k HP, plus 1000 defense, and only plus about 500 attack. It doesn't have any crit rate. But with the additional damage that it has, and it's mainly focused on speed, HP, and then defense, and then a little bit from attack as well. It's like one of those lines that has everything. But look at the damage that this thing does. It's just, that's so much damage for just a Windy that is super tanky. Like, it's near impossible to kill this Windy. And then the Windy is just casually hitting you for 2.1s or crit is 2.7. That is like absolutely the Windy build to go. So yeah, I can switch that build around a lot, and that makes it that it's very nice. Says defense per se really good. I'm not sure, it's just throwing a bunch of LDs at it. I'm pretty sure he can build different variations of this that could be more deadly, but I could still see that this team is somewhat deadly. But so is that Windy, and that Windy is near impossible to kill. Like, it's just straight up like 2.8Ks, critting that I love, 2.9Ks even. Like, there's just too much damage on the Windy that is actually full tank. And additional damage artifacts, they're kind of OP, yes. So get those artifacts in, boys. So in this case, was it a risk to say, like, okay, he could outspeed me? Yes, he actually did outspeed me, but he went for the fortunate target of Nefties, which I would say is the least interesting for him to increase cooltime on, because I could have pushed back, didn't land the pushback, but did land the freeze everywhere. And then I'm still lapping over here, so for something that went wrong, it still looked pretty right, weirdly enough. He did get a proc over there, well, better proc on that one than the proc on the previous turn, so yeah, that's definitely a risk I can't take the moment we go into tryharding, but it's still one of those offenses I like to use, right? Then we actually go into the defense, which I would say is one of the strongest defenses out there, and that's the combination of Sylvia with a Giselle. Sylvia with Giselle is just so nasty because the uptime of invisibility is nearly all the time. Like, the amount of times that she uses her skills is just insane. I would say Seimei is pretty much a cheat to counter it. But this Seimei had minus 26 on Dark, about plus 1.5k defense, plus 35k HP or something. A little bit lower than that, but something close to that. And look at how much damage this shit is still doing. Like, I made it like super slow because I'm like, yeah, sure, for the turn taking it would be nice to remove armor break, but I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna make it as tank as possible, put the same Windy as that I had in the previous showcase. But those units still did a lot and a lot of damage. Plus, you have everything in this team. You have the increased cooltime in this team. You have the strips in this team. You have the invisibility in this team. You have armor breaks on regular occasions, like all the time, even that S1 armor breaks. There is so much going on in this team, and that's just, I would say that this is one of the strongest, if not the strongest teams in the game. Let me know what you guys think. Is this the strongest team in the game, and how would you counter it? And if you think there's another team that is stronger, let me know what you think is the strongest defense in the game. Because I would say that this one is either the strongest or gets pretty close. Because even with the Seimei, I still have options sometimes where I couldn't even get my heal in properly. And for as tanky as this stupid ass Seimei was, I showcase it in a second actually as well. Because I made a clip from it like just a second after to just showcase like how dumbly tanky this Seimei is. It still nearly dies. Like, sure, it didn't take too many turns, but the healing that I provide on the Bolvik is a lot. So I was like, probably she just has to tank. And I also want them to hit her. So if she's lowest HP, even if the Bolvik was armor broken, they will probably still hit the Seimei. So that was also my game plan. Keep the Seimei in there and actually make it kind of that they will hit it all the time. But it was still like close to 100 rest. But that was a really insane one. So yeah, this was my Seimei. Okay, I a little bit overdid it on the defense, what I mentioned, but a little bit underdid it for the HP that I mentioned. Still 100% resistance. And I have that artifact of minus 26 on Dark. I should still gem one of the others out. I'm not entirely sure yet what I would gem it for. But this is definitely a perfect a perfect one to go for in this case, and that does do a lot of reduction, but still, this thing nearly freaking died, like holy hell. Then my final hit, which was definitely a hit that I went in too fast and underestimated hit. You could be like, why the hell do you go with a Dark Cast into a Narsha? I'm like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have. But the idea behind this was he's most likely a Leo counter, and because of that Leo counter, I have an 18 damage on Dark on Odin. I can snipe out this unit. He kills my unit, I kill that unit, I get full stacks again, I can kill the Kiki as well, because I have that 19 damage on Dark. But it didn't really go according to plan as much. So in this case, I went for that S3 here. Did get a very nice proc here, but in hindsight, I should have actually S1 rather than S2. I went for S2 to put a slow on the Narsha, which definitely was nice. But then this, 51k, and that is like by the sliver of HP. That is not great. We have Narsha going for S2, and S2 annihilates that unit. Going in for Serenity, that is not great. Only got one critter. This also missed the critter, so therefore didn't get the kill. Otherwise, I would have got another... Did I get another turn otherwise? Nope, I wouldn't have. So, yeah, that definitely did not work out. That's more of a misplay than me just being unlucky here, that's for sure. But, yeah, that Narsha does do a lot of damage. Well, it's the Narsha from DU, so that's definitely... understandable that that one does a lot of damage. This is just underestimating the things and overestimating my Odin, I guess. But yeah, that also means a 9 out of 10 for this siege. In general, pretty fun siege. Hope you enjoyed this video. And once again, in the comments, let me know what you think is the strongest defense out there. And also, how would you count it? Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.